you have to understand when you chase something from a perspective of ego, when you're chasing it for you, you will never catch it
Mm.
because you get tired, right?
Hmm.
You grow weary. You don't have the same drive.
Yeah.
But when I chase for my people, right? When I chase for my tribe, it's just not me anymore,
Mm.
right? I just don't have, it's just not my energy. It's the energy of my tribe. It's the energy of my community. It's the
Mm.
energy of my people. Because I'm not trying to make myself the greatest. I'm trying to make my community the greatest, my tribe the
Yeah.
greatest.
It makes you want to wake up.
Right.
I'm
Right.
here every
Right.
time. I'm never late.
I hustle for my team. I
Yeah.
hustle for my people. When you hustle for you, if you're not hustling for the right reason,
Mhm.
then the hustle is all you have.
Mhm. And that shit runs out.
Right.
This little thing is called a plod or something, and you just tap it like this, and then it's AI, and it records our whole conversation, and later on, it just puts it all.
Generates the captions.
Yep.
Shut up.
No, not the captions. It
Oh.
generates me like a whole thing, like of our whole conversation.
Oh, really?
And then I take that and I paste that into Chat GPT. And in Chat GPT, I'll tell it, I just sat down with Demetrius Nicodemus. This is a conversation we had. I need you to come up with an SEO YouTube description, 10 title recommendations, and even some recommendations on how I should make the thumbnail. And then it goes, it makes everything for me. And then I go over and make sure it doesn't say Demetrius, did something. So then I'll just like go over, look at it, and I'll say, that's beautiful. And I'll copy it, paste it. And then I look at all the
Does that not
titles.
scare you a little bit?
Yeah, it does.
Like it's got to scare you a little bit. I mean, like I think about like I love the idea of AI, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the idea, but I also have seen the movies.
Yeah.
So when there's like, hey, if you can just type all the stuff you got in your refrigerator into Chat GPT and it'll
Yeah.
kick out 37 recipes.
Wow.
And you're just like, well, that's cool. But then what happens if Chat GPT decides it don't really like you? And then you type in all the stuff that you have in your refrigerator, and it's like, I've deduced that you are deathly allergic to chicken. You need to make a chicken dish. And then next thing you know, I poisoned myself because of Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I don't, it's just
I think
scary.
it just depends
Or
on
just-
who runs the whole system.
Yeah, it's just like it can tell you how to think, right?
But also it can, like, you can give it, like, you can say, hey, give me recommendations, and it'll give you a bunch of recommendations, and then you can go from there. The way I use it is I put a lot of the information in, and I'll just say, hey man, can you organize this for me?
Okay.
Or I'll speak it to it about the Bible. So I clean houses. I'm cleaning houses, and all of a sudden something comes in my head, like just a thought, or I'm listening to a podcast and they say about, money is evil, the love of money is evil, because I listen to a lot of Christian stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm like, Chat GPT, yeah, go ahead. And then I listen back I'll say, hey, Chat GPT, tell me a little bit about the love of money in the scriptures, and it'll tell me, like, it says this in Matthew, it says this there, it says that, and it tells me, I can go back and look in the Bible and exactly what it says in the Bible.
Yeah. Okay. And which is great. It's a great reference tool.
Mhm.
How does it help you with your interpretation? And since you've gone on this religious journey,
Mhm.
right? Have you found yourself, are you, God, I guess the question, like, are we like evangelical? How are we looking at this? Is
Yeah.
God like, I know a lot from everything that I've seen,
Mhm.
right? And and you tell me when you want to start.
Yeah.
Because
Well, if you want, let's just Let's just listen back to that, make sure it sounds good, and then we'll just start
I'm
recording
good.
because this is good.
I'm good.
And then I'll
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can talk about all this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have faith, show love, give hope today. Together we're stronger in every way. From the streets to the heart, we're breaking the mold.
Welcome back to Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope, the podcast where I have faith, I show love to my guests, and together we try to give hope to whoever's watching. Today I have no other than Demetrius Nicodemus. Mr. Demetrius, how you doing?
Oh my God, stop.
No, it's
so-
good, man, because
Bro.
I've listened to you on the radio for years. You know, I'm right around your age. I've been to the Funny Bone when you
Yeah.
used to host,
Yeah.
and you would do like a little thing
Yep,
before
yep,
you
yep.
called up. So I followed you. I even showed Andrew one time. I messaged him. I said, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna interview Demetrius too." So this is the second time we sat next to each other. And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Cool," because he's my favorite, and I don't think he liked that too much. But
no,
but yeah.
that might not be a thing.
yeah, so we were talking about AI a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I kind of wanted to get more into like your discovery of faith
Oh, okay.
because I have found, at least through my experiences, that like people go one of two ways, right? They either go really extreme, or there's a bit of God, for lack of a better word, common sense mixed in with their
Mhm.
faith.
Yeah.
I know you said you've been immersing yourself a lot in like Christian podcasts, Christian music,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. Where do you feel like this is leading you? How do you feel like it has changed your life? And I know this is your podcast.
Yeah.
So, but and at what point did you realize this was the change?
At what point did I realize it was a change? Oh, basically, like after I found Jesus, I had like this feeling like I need to change the name of the podcast because I felt like real egotistical, and I felt like oh man, I'm flexing, and I was
Right,
like,
right.
it was all about working out and stuff. So I had the name right there, Faith, Love, Hope, and I'm like, and then finally hit me like I want to change it to Have Faith, Show Love, Give Hope. And then where it's taken me, it's at first I had lots of fire, right? And
Right.
then my little cousin passed away right here, Tommy. He passed away, and I kind of like lost it a little bit. And I started going back into the world a little
test.
bit, you know?
Yeah.
I started smoking weed again, vaping again. And then little by little, I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I felt like, you know, that pressure, like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But I still had faith. I never lost my faith. I never said, God, why? God, why? I never did that, you know? I just like, I was like, I gotta stay strong. Because I felt that kind of stuff happens because a lot of us will say, you know what? We'll talk about anything, but we don't talk about religion, and we won't talk about politics. On this show, you know, we'll talk about the hip hop guy, we'll talk about this, but we're not going to talk about religion, and we're not going to talk about politics. But when we don't talk about religion and we don't talk about politics, that's how our children don't know what's really going on. And they go right into the world at 16 and they start vaping and they start hanging around with their friends. They don't have the moral compass, because us as adults, we have to like actually walk the walk so people can see it. Because I can tell you all day, Demetrius, go to church, be a good person, right?
Mm.
It don't matter. I can tell you that all day, especially for kids. But if you're not doing it, I can, like, how many dads, you know, they tell their kids, don't smoke a cigarette, but they're smoking cigarettes. The kids see that and they go with that. Is what people see. So one day, man, I talked to my dad and I was like, well, you don't regret none of this? He's like, no, because he left me a long time ago and whatever he did, went to prison. And that day, he ended up crying because I was like, how can you not regret not living with us? And he said, you know what, I do. And we like sat there and that's the day like I feel like I became a leader. Even though I was a leader, I was in prison and I was a leader and all kinds of stuff. But that day when I had that conversation with my dad, I felt like more of a leader, you know? And then, so I said, I have to start leading. That's when I started doing all my working out stuff. And I started getting online and just, but you know, it kind of pushed people away more than it did bring. I think like the people that are real close to me, but even being a Christian, it pushes people away.
Yeah.
It seems like everything that we do, we push people away. How about you? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you do all that?
Okay. I come and I'm a guy who grew up. I went to Catholic school.
Oh,
I kind of fell out of my faith. It's funny that you bring this up because I didn't really rediscover my faith until my ex-wife left,
mm,
and I was. It's like it's like that prison story, right? You know, you hit rock bottom, and you find Jesus, right? And you never ask why was Jesus hiding from you in the first place. Like you just find him like it was like he's like, damn, But I say that in regards to like like when my ex-wife left, God, I didn't get off the couch for 3 months.
damn, it was that bad.
It was I still have the crusty pillow
Mhm.
that like regardless of how hard you wash it, will not lose its firmness because I laid on that thing on that couch for 3 months. And I tell this story because one of my dear friends is Ben Snyder, and I love Ben to death. Uh, and I reached out to him
Mm.
when my ex-wife left, and I was struggling. You know, there were a couple of people that I reached out to. Like there were some things that happened to me. I tried to take my own life
Damn.
when it happened. And the crazy thing about that was like, and I tell this, God, I hate telling this story. I tried to hang myself in my garage. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Footstool, brand new construction on 2x4s, big, thick, orange electrical extension cord.
Damn, bro.
And wrapped it around my neck, jumped off that footstool, and brand new construction broke. Brand new 2x4s broke,
Hey, bro.
snapped. I was not in a space to see it at the time, but something was
That was
working.
God.
Right. And so I reached out to my friend Ben, and Ben kind of helped me through things. And one day he asked me to help him with an Easter sermon. He was like, I want it to be funny. I want it to be a
Mm.
little lighthearted, blah, blah, blah. And so I met him and we worked through this sermon and I went home. And then the next day at 9 o'clock, my phone went off and all it said was God. That's all it said. It's still, I tell you this to tell you this story because it still happens to this day. It's been 3 years. 9 o'clock every morning,
Like a text message?
like a task reminder.
Oh, task.
I have at 9 o'clock. Well,
Mm.
except when daylight savings time happens, because God is a little appreciative, and then it happens at 10.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when we lose an hour, it's 9.
Okay.
But 9 o'clock, my phone went off, and all it said was God. And I was like, that's weird as hell. And I ignored it the next day. Phone went off. 9 o'clock. All it said was God.
But you never said that?
No,
You never said it like that? Oh, wow.
bro.
That makes
When
it
I tell you, I did
I thought you were
not.
saying you said it.
No, I did not touch my phone. Why would I put a reminder
Of
in
God.
of God?
You weren't even at that
9 a-
moment.
Yeah, I was not in that moment. And for like a week, it went off 9 o'clock every morning. And then so I was tired.
You can put it on this side too if you want. It makes it easier. So
Thank you. I was tired. And so I called Ben and I said, "Hey, Ben."
And Ben is a pastor?
Ben is the pastor of, is it Cedar Creek?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the head pastor of Cedar Creek.
Okay.
And I'm like, "Hey," and I know some of you guys may take a little offense to this, but I'm like, "You're the only Jesus-y dude I know.
Okay.
Did you do something to my phone?" I'm like, when I went up to when I went up to go to the bathroom, did you do something to my phone? And he was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Look, I'm going to tell you this, and I don't want you to think I'm crazy. It's going to sound crazy. It's going to sound crazy as hell. But I'm going to tell you this. Since that day that I met you at Doc Watson's and we worked on this Easter sermon, my phone has been going off every day at 9:00, and all it says is God."
Wow.
I'm like, "Tell me you did something to my phone." And he was like, "I don't even know how to do things like that to somebody's phone.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of a terror I would be? Like if you could just drop God messages on people's phones without knowing,
Yeah.
it would freak you out, right?"
Plus, he would have to have like your code and all that.
Right. And so when I tell you this story it still happens to this day.
You still got the text.
I've never changed any of the settings. I don't mess with it. 9:00. Well, now since we've sprung forward, it's 10.
So it'll drop back down.
So, and it'll drop when I lose an hour, it'll drop to 9. But at 10:00, I get a message that just reminds me, "Did you pray today?"
Mm.
And so every day I make sure I try to do it before I get my notification.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my little prayer. I ask him to protect my friends, protect my family, protect my children.
Mm-hmm.
Pay special attention to people.
Give him thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ask him to make me better every day. Sometimes I don't live up to that ask,
Of course.
but I ask him to make me better every day. I tell him that I am humble, and I tell him that I am sorry for the things that I have done, and I ask him to make me better.
Mm.
And
That's
that is my
awesome.
story.
Yeah, that's an awesome. But that's, like the hanging thing, that's really scary, man. I'm glad you had Ben though, because like if you said that's the only godly guy you knew at that time, you probably do know a lot, but that's the only guy that really came to your mind at that moment.
Like honestly, you sit there. I've tried to take my life twice. Once in high school, and once during my divorce. It is crazy to me at times when I think about how actively I really tried,
Mhm.
and to still be sitting here says that I don't know if it's ego. I would like to not think that it is
Mhm.
ego, that I'm supposed to be here for a reason, right?
No, that's not ego.
So, at times you can just go, maybe I tie a really shitty knot.
Mhm. Or the wood, maybe.
Right.
The
I
wood.
was like, well, the wood was only a nickel a 2x4.
Yeah.
What were you expecting?
Yeah.
I
And
bought
you're
it-
a big dude,
right?
so it's not like you're a little skinny dude. You know what I mean?
You know what? This is all brand new. Like,
Oh, is it?
Ooh, sorry. Yeah,
You're fine.
Yeah. This is all brand new.
That's like top heavy, so
Yeah,
it falls over.
So
easy.
this is like,
So yeah, because you've been working out like lately.
This helps with some other mental health issues and other things like that.
You know what, Demetrius? Another thing that really, like, I have to have this thought and I have to get it out. So like even me, like I kept doing bad things and not following Christ's way. So eventually, I don't know, but eventually I was like, Man, sit down in prison and figure your life out. So maybe God, that wasn't the woman for you, or maybe God didn't think, and maybe that's probably why too, because a lot of times we think that this is disaster. Oh my God, I'm going to
Bro,
prison. Oh my God. But really, there's gonna be a bigger blessing.
but and the crazy thing about that, as you say that,
Mhm.
is I went through my entire life before I even got married, was I was never gonna get married.
Yeah, I thought you were
I was
single.
never gonna get. I've seen I've I've never seen a healthy relationship.
Mhm.
I have never, ever, ever seen, even as a child, a healthy relationship. So relationships to me always looked like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. Like a big ass boulder, you're just running from it, and eventually it's gonna crush you,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
It ain't good for you. Stay
Mhm.
out of the jungle, stay away from the boulder.
Mhm.
So I was never ever going to get married. My mom passed away a year prior to me meeting my ex-wife. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I did not have a firm foundation, right?
Mhm.
I was just looking for something to settle my roots in.
Mhm.
I didn't have roots.
Mhm.
My mom had died. My father died the day I left for boot camp. Um, and
So you
that
felt lonely as
I
hell.
was I was like what they call an adult orphan.
Mhm.
Like no family. All of my family, my aunts, my uncles, everybody gone, right?
Wow.
Um, so I was like, and I guess the best example of that is like I would tell people I'm like a ship that's unmoored. Like I'm not attached to a dock. I'm just
Mhm.
out in the
Out
ocean,
floating.
floating with no direction and no foundation. Um, it's a scary, scary thing. I still at times am like that.
Mhm.
I don't really know where this is going. All I know is where my heart's pulling me,
Mhm.
right? Um, so that that in itself, I guess, is worth the work.
Yep, it is. You like right now, I see some of the stuff that you're posting, like you're gonna start this radio show and all this stuff, and I'm excited, dude, because I know that you're here for a reason. There's no ego about it. You're here for a reason. That wood broke for a reason. The first time you tried, something happened there,
I
right? What
was
was that one?
Bro, oh my God. I was what was it? High school, 17 years old. Mm, over some girl. And oh no, it wasn't.
Oh.
I take that back. It was not. It was not over a girl. It was the day before my senior pictures.
Mhm.
My brother and I had gotten into a fight. And my brother and I, when we fought, there was always like an unwritten rule. You don't punch people in the face. Like that was just the rule.
Mhm.
You don't punch
Yeah,
people in
we
the
can hit
face.
each other
Yeah,
everywhere, not in
everywhere
the
else, but
face.
not in the face. This guy be picture ready. What are you doing? This the money maker.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you could hit me all in my fat thighs,
Yeah, yeah.
but and he hit me in the eye like hard and gave me a black eye. And I went to my mom, and my mom said to me, "Well, what did you do to make him punch you in the eye?" And I was like, something just washed over me. She was like, "I'm going to go to work now." And then she left. And it was just like, I was never going to be good enough
Mhm.
to defend. I was never going to be worth enough to defend. And that just drove me. I took a whole big bottle of pills.
Oh, you did? Did you pass out and
Oh my
everything?
god, yeah, my brother broke down the bathroom door, found me laying on the ground surrounded by these stupid ass pills.
Did you know that could have killed you? Like
Oh,
that was your mindset?
that was my
Oh,
mindset. I
okay.
just didn't want to. You know what my mindset was? Is I didn't want to be going through the thing that I was going through now.
Mhm.
It wasn't a question of I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And I kind of lost that when with the second thing. It was I just didn't want to go through it anymore.
Mhm.
I was very short-sighted. I didn't I saw the pain
Yeah. Of the moment.
of the moment and attributed the pain of the moment to the pain of eternity.
Mm.
And I didn't want to be around for that. And I was hasty with my decision.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And that's not good. And the Bible says be slow with your
bro,
decisions.
and I tell you this, when I was in the hospital, and look, I love my mom to death. My mom did the best with us that she could with the
Mhm.
tools that she had had.
Yep.
But when they called her at work and told her that her son was in the hospital because he tried to commit suicide,
Mm. She want to beat you up.
bro,
Mm.
she said to me in my hospital bed, she was like, "You should have done this right because I'm about to kill you."
Yeah. Yeah, because she's a strong woman.
Yeah,
She
she was like, "I had to leave work for this shit," is what she said to me. I had to leave work for this.
Wow.
And I was like, I'll never forget that. Ever, ever, ever.
So what? So going through all of this stuff, man, you're meant. Something kept you going. Something there's something brighter for you. There's a
I
future
don't
for you. Maybe you don't know yet.
What
or
is that? What is that? I don't know if I operate from a place of of joy, right?
But you're like a comedian. You're
Right.
funny as hell, dude.
Because I'm broken inside. There's like, I'm clearly broken. I wonder sometimes like what joy looks like.
Damn.
Like if that is like really a thing, right?
But I couldn't. I would never be able to tell from the outside looking in. Like I mean, like listening to you on the radio and
right,
just watching your Facebook.
right.
I don't see none of that.
Well, because
you hold it in.
I struggle, and I assume people have the same struggle, right? I'm there. It would be very egotistical of me to assume that I'm the only one who
heck
goes
no.
through the things that I go through.
No,
That would be like then nobody is relatable,
no.
right? And there are times when I just go, I go, who would want to listen to this? Who would want to listen to me? But I have to remind myself I am not unique in my experiences. However, I am unique in my observation of my experiences.
Yeah.
I share a lot of the same experiences with a lot of people. However, if I can pull myself out of it and look at it, it's different, right? It's different. I would love to know what that kind of joy is.
Yep.
You know, I hear people talk about it all the time. I would love that. I think it's a little naive at times, especially with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think it all starts within. Like you have to be able to, love yourself first before you can love anything else. Before you can feel that love, it has to come from within. And another thing, hold on, you have very good perspectives. I don't understand why you would even think. Why would anyone want to listen to me? Because like when I hear conversations between you and other people, a lot of times I side with you, and then sometimes you even get mad at the other person, and you're like, "No, that's dumb. You're thinking the wrong way." And a lot of times I'm like, "Damn, Demetrius is right." You seems like more of a heart for certain things. I love you're working out stuff. Like you have a different perspective than a lot of
Bro,
people.
it's so funny. Um, like it took my therapist, like when I was going through my divorce, um, and I was going through it. I had to go talk to somebody. I needed to
Mm,
go talk to somebody. I was going to the gym, right?
mhm,
And I don't say this to like talk bad about my ex-wife or anything like that. It's not that at all,
mhm. This is your story.
This is just like, but at the time when I was married, my ex-wife was looking, she was watching shows where like these guys are like 20 some odd years old. They got no
Mm,
shirt on. It's on
yeah,
the
yeah.
beach all the damn time. They got their abs have abs,
Mhm,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
see these guys, they wake up, they start drinking vodka at like 11 and then they're in the gym at 9.
yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, okay, well maybe this is what that is. And so I'm going to do something to maybe kind of get that attention that I was kind of looking for. Um and it wasn't that, you know, because I that didn't get me the
Yeah.
attention I was looking for. And my therapist told me, she was like, "Well, once that didn't get you the attention you were looking for, why did you continue to do it?"
Mm,
And then it dawned on me, I wasn't doing it for her. And at the beginning, that was my motive, that was my reason to start.
mhm,
But a- as I was going through it, it was more for me.
mhm,
It was because she was gone,
yeah,
right? And she wasn't coming back, but I was still going. I was still going.
mhm,
And it wasn't until she pointed out to me that it was because it was benefiting me that I was doing it.
mhm,
And I was like, holy shit, she's right, you know, because I still go.
yeah,
It's still every day,
yeah,
every day,
yeah, and you look good,
you
dude.
know?
When I seen you walk in, I was like, "Dang," because I haven't seen you in a while. I was like, "You look fit," you know what I'm saying?
Uh, Thank God I didn't have this body when I was 20.
Mhm, yeah, yeah. It would have been
I
dangerous.
would have been dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm old and tired and I got this, now I'm just slow. But
Another thing, like I know about your mom passing away, and but like a person with like, I remember you had like the little player mindset. You're like, I'm not gonna be with nobody.
yeah.
And then how did you let somebody just like wrap you up into this like where you fall in love so much that it was like, because we're supposed to, I don't know. I just feel like it's better to have a girl that's chasing you instead of you chasing her, or are you so worried about her that like why couldn't you just move on with your life?
I was never I'm never a chaser.
Mhm. So this girl came to your
I
life.
will never ever ever, honestly, dude, when I met her, I remember it like it was yesterday.
You're
I had
like,
just God, I hadn't just broken up with a girl. I'd been out of a relationship and I had not left my apartment for a couple months. It
damn, so
was
you take that stuff hard.
yeah, like
That's why you didn't want to get in
like, yeah.
relationships. You're like, it's too hard.
It's hard. It's hard, and I don't know
Yeah.
why people want to do it. It's the
Yeah,
dumbest
yeah.
thing in the world. Is why? I'll
Mm.
punch you in the dick for free. But but like, so two of my friends came over to my apartment and they were like, "Look, you're going out. Take a shower, put some clothes on. We're taking you out. You can't just sit in here
Yeah,
and be like this all the goddamn time." I apologize.
it's all
Um,
good.
but so I went out and I met this girl and God, beautiful. She still is. She's still a beautiful girl. Woman, I should say.
Mhm.
And the first thing I told her was that I think I told her I was like 32. Clearly a lie. As we talked longer throughout the night,
Were you older or young?
I got older. I
You
was
were older.
much older.
Oh.
And as we talked throughout the night, I gradually added a year to
Yeah.
like my age until I was like finally there. Right. And what I thought was going to be like a one night stand, like she just stayed.
Mhm.
And I hadn't had anybody want to stay with me. Right. And I had made some huge mistakes while we were dating, which made her leave. And I'll straight up tell you, I was getting like naked picture texts from girls,
Mhm.
and I wasn't telling her. I was just like enjoying them and then deleting them.
Mhm.
And then one of the girls who was sending me texts was like, she told her, and she was like, "Hey, did he tell you I was doing this?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings."
Yeah.
When when probably more of it was, I just enjoyed naked picture texts.
Yeah.
And so she left, right? And I thought that was going to be it. Like, once you go, you go. I move, but she wanted to come back, right? And I never had anybody want to come back,
Mhm.
and that was the moment where I was like, shit. I hurt her, and she wants to come back. So it has to be something, because anybody else in my life
Mhm.
goes, and that's just it. They just go.
Yep. And
They
you
don't
move on.
they don't want to go, let's sit down and think about how this can be fixed and what we did and blah blah blah. That's what made me go, I'm going to get married.
Mhm.
Now, it is also the same thing that says to me now, I will never get married again. Because I just like the idea of trusting somebody like that
Yeah, it's
again
hard.
is like is a risk I just don't think I could take again.
Yeah. In the Bible it says like you have to try to be equally yoked. Like both you guys have to have like the same plan, like
Right.
with God, with your foundation to create a, like you said earlier, you didn't have a foundation. To create a strong foundation, both you guys need to try to like figure out where you're at, because if one of you guys, or if neither of you guys have that,
Bro.
it's a slippery slope.
I was a tree rooted in the sand.
And how about her? Was she godly or anything?
No.
You guys were just,
Oh, we're
living
just
your life.
out.
And then, okay, so when you guys broke up and Ben and all that, how did you actually find your way back to God? Because you said that's it, that's my story. But how did you actually? Because you grew up Catholic, right? So you've known of you've known.
I've
about
known
God.
of the Catholic God. Not a big fan.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me just restart the camera before we go into this
Cool.
conversation.
Bro, you know what? I love everything that you're doing right now.
So much, man.
Like,
Because
anytime you
I'm trying to do this for like a greater cause now. Because before Big Yogi's Garage, I was like, I want to make my own podcast. But now this,
But that's what it is, right? Like, you have to understand, when you chase something from a perspective of ego, when you're chasing it for you will never catch it, because you get tired, right? You grow weary. You don't have the same drive.
Yeah.
But when I chase for my people, right? When I chase for my tribe, it's just not me anymore, right? I just don't have, it's just not my energy. It's the energy of my tribe. It's the energy of my community. It's the energy of my people. Because I'm not trying to make myself the greatest. I'm trying to make my community the greatest, my tribe the greatest.
Yeah. It makes you want to wake up.
Right.
I'm here every time. I'm never late.
I hustle for my team.
Yeah.
I hustle for my people, when you hustle for you, if you're not hustling for the right reason,
Mhm.
then the hustle is all you have.
Mhm. And that shit runs out,
Right.
man. So it's like if you have a purpose, or if you're doing it for the good of the community, the good of the viewers, you'll have more, like you'll want to do it more.
Right.
You'll make sure you're not late. You'll make sure you're there.
Like I'm trying to make sure that like the next thing I do, right, isn't for me. It's for everyone
Mhm.
around me.
Mhm.
If I get anything out of it, it'll be after everybody else is fed,
Mhm.
right? That's how it should be. I should want to, or at least for me,
Mhm.
right? I want to see you succeed from the hard work that we do. My success comes from seeing you succeed. My my food, my meal comes from watching you eat.
Yeah.
That's just
It feeds you
right.
watching me win.
Right.
Gives you like
Right.
some.
Like I'm not rooting against you.
Mhm.
Like I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Remember, like first time I interviewed, I said, did you get a lot of criticism coming back? You know, and
Yeah.
you were like, yeah, but I'm doing it because I want this to win. I
Yeah.
want this to be good. But I'm sure people was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
Everybody.
And your mind was probably,
Yeah.
don't do it. But you're like,
and here's like the thing with that is I believe in second, third, and fourth chances.
of course. The Bible says forgive 77 times 70.
Right.
7,000.
Right.
I don't know.
And you're just like, I didn't know heaven had accountants. That's
Yeah.
a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But you can't. It is not my job. It is not my place. It is not my position to sit in judgment of other people. The only thing I can do is I can go like this. You know what? You tell me you've changed. You tell me that there's a thing. Then I have to, just for the sake of me and my character, for who I am, right? I have to say, okay, I'm going to believe you.
Let's check it out.
And regardless of how many times I get burned, right? Regardless of how many times, I have to say to myself, for my faith, I have to say, I believe you. Until you show me otherwise.
Mhm.
And then you go away. And then you come back. And you say, hey, I've learned. I'm going to do better. I'll believe you.
Mhm.
I'm probably not going to be as invested as I was the fourth, third, second,
Mhm.
or first time. But I'm going to believe you. And I'm
Yeah.
going to be your biggest supporter, period. I still believe that there are some people who are out here who can do better. They just don't see it. I really hope this is interesting.
Mhm. This is interesting. This is interesting to me, man. You know, this is interesting to me, and it's going to be interesting to a lot of people because some people can take whatever side or whatever, but it's not about sides.
It's not about sides.
It's not about sides because at the end of the day, we can still want the best for him and want the best for them and whatever. The thing is, you just weren't going to play the game anymore because you seen something that, like I told you earlier, I can tell you whatever I want. I can say, hey, Demetrius, I'm this guy. But then you see me and you're like, okay, Yogi, you keep telling me you're doing this. You keep telling me this, but I keep seeing who you are. So at the end of the day, the truth comes out.
Right.
So there's a moment where you as a man, you have to say, hey, look, man, I'm not playing this game no more. I can go play this game somewhere else. And you can be the guy that you have your own stuff,
And that's I guess the thing was like, I don't want to be the guy.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to be the guy.
That's your humbleness too.
That's the thing. What I want is I want this project, I want this thing to benefit everybody who is a part of it.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want somebody to go, hey, that's D from the D show. I don't want that. I don't want any of that. What I want is I want my tribe to be excited about meeting, right? To be excited about gathering, to be excited about seeing each other, and to also reap the benefits of whatever this may be.
Mhm. I think it's a beautiful, like from what I heard,
Bro,
like,
can I just tell you your whole thing, everyone eats thing? I was so mad at you right then.
I'm
When you were
sorry,
like, it should be
but
called Everyone Eats.
but
And I
that's
was like,
from
oh, it should be. It totally should be.
no, because but I didn't get that from me. It didn't come from me. That's totally from you.
But here's the thing though, right? I may have said it,
You said it
and
a
I
few
say
times.
and I say it a lot, but it wasn't until somebody from outside of what I was saying was like, hey, did you see that? Those are the things that you miss when you feel like you see everything,
Mm,
right? When you feel like you know what's best for everyone and you feel like you know how to do things.
mhm.
You miss suggestions and words and advice like that. Like, you should call it Everyone Eats.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
No,
and
you always say like
we all eat.
we all eat or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone eats. Everyone eats.
Everyone eats.
That something like that, because that's exactly why when I was watching the video, you're frustrated. You're like, whatever I do, whatever I start, everyone's gonna eat. Everyone eat. We all eat. And I was like, God, that's the show.
Yeah.
That is the show.
Because that's what it is.
And it was boiling up for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So when I seen you in live again, and you were saying, I said, have you ever came up with a name? Because I already thought I'm gonna tell Demetrius this is what you should call it, because I got that from you. It's not that I invented it, and I never even heard no one even say that unless they're talking about food,
Right. But that's the thing, though. It's through your perspective, and I can't see through your eyes. I can't hear through your ears, and when like you close those kind of things off, then you miss those ideas.
Yeah.
You miss those suggestions, right?
Sometimes you think you're
the and I
smartest
never
guy.
want to be the guy who goes, I know better, right?
Mhm.
I want to be the guy who says I listen better. Like, I
Yeah.
listen better.
Yeah, that's a good, especially for something like this.
Right. And like what you're doing here and the evolution that you have gone through is so amazing, right? And I'm so proud
Thank you, man.
of
Appreciate it.
seeing like the podcaster that you have turned into, the community leader that you
Wow.
have turned into. I am proud of the steps and the things that you have done and the changes that you have made. And this is and it's got nothing to do with me,
Mhm.
but I watch you and I am proud of your growth. And I know that may not mean
No,
anything,
no,
right?
no.
But I will tell you this.
It means a lot, because I feel sometimes like I don't hear stuff like that enough.
You
know,
you are rocking and you are rolling and you are committed. And I will tell you this, there will be times where you will question what you are doing, whether or not it is helping anybody.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, if one or two people watch this and make a change, then bro, you have rocked worlds,
Thank you.
because that person affects other people and they affect others.
Yep. Yeah, because it's just like the pastor, when you asked him to come help you and to guide you in the right direction, without you even, he just planted a little seed in you, and that little seed boiled, and then with the phone, that's another
Right.
little seed. It's a sign, a seed. Those are little things to make
Like,
you start thinking
I don't
about.
I don't want people to think that like God has to be, because that's very active, right?
Mm.
That is very, very present in somebody's
Yeah, like the
life.
sign.
Like when like it pops up on your phone.
Yeah, that's
Like you don't you can't, like, I needed that. That's what God saw. I'd watched too many like Christian epics when I was a child during
yeah.
Easter, where it was like Ben Hur and the Ten Commandments, and like I watched those epic Christian movies, and
Mhm.
God knew He was like, He needs big shit.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not gonna send a burning bush, but maybe a text message on his phone
Yeah,
is gonna
yeah,
rock
yeah.
his world. And that's what I got. And I do see God actively working in my life crazily. It's funny at times when I talk about how active he is in my life.
Mm.
Active. I mean, like, shows up at soccer games, active,
Mm.
like, is what he does.
Yep.
Or she, or however you want to genderify
Yeah,
your
yeah.
God, however that works.
Of
But
course.
but you know, it 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 is something that has given me a lot of comfort and peace.
And how can you tell me? I've been trying to ask you how. Okay, so the pastor, we 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 kind of skipping around,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
who it doesn't matter. This is open conversation. So the pastor planted this seed. He helped you out that
No.
day.
You know,
You
and
already knew a lot
like,
about
you
this.
know what? And the it wasn't the fact that, I think it was the act of me reaching out to Ben
Ben, the
was,
Pastor Ben, right?
yeah.
Okay.
It was the act of me reaching out,
Oh,
which is, and I don't presume to ever know what God is thinking at all. But I think the act of me reaching out to him, out of all the other people that I could have reached out to. And I'll tell you, I reached out to one other person. His name was Chris Foster. And and the in both instances, they wanted to pray with me.
mm,
Out of the two people that I reached out to, both of them were like, let's sit in prayer and pray about this.
wow.
So I think it was in that moment is when it really started.
Just those prayers, like that,
Mhm.
kind of like
Yeah,
started.
it was like, let me back in,
Mhm.
right? You've been rocking and rolling so hard thinking it's just you.
Mhm.
It's just you, and you have not opened this door for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take your house,
Oh, you
and
lost.
I'm going to make you open this door,
Uh-huh.
because I'm going to take your doors. I'm going to take your windows. I'm going to take your floors. All you will have is me.
Mm.
So let's rock and roll. And that's what happened.
And then did you start going to church and stuff like that?
I'm
Or are you more like what? How is your faith like?
I believe that God is not necessarily within four walls of any
I
building
believe that.
in which you throw an address on. Sometimes I think putting people in charge of religion is the worst thing that's ever happened to God,
Mhm.
because I think that there are some people who just can't help but try to manipulate the situation to their benefit,
Mhm.
right?
I feel the exact same way.
And tell you what they want and then disguise it under what
Mhm.
God would like. Um, I believe that God knows your heart. I believe that God knows that He doesn't have to be on a church on Summit Street
Mhm.
for Him to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And He doesn't need you to be in a suit and tie for Him to have a conversation with you.
Yes, sir. Jesus Christ wore like just robes and
Right.
sandals.
Right.
He didn't have nothing.
And hung out with the worst of us.
Yeah, and he was a woodworker, so sometimes he would just like make something for somebody, and they would feed him, or he was like working his way through to preach. He never needed a big, he rode in a donkey. He didn't ride in a stallion, and he could have rode in anything because he was Jesus Christ. He could have talked some people into giving him all this stuff, but he didn't want nothing from nobody.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't ask nothing from nobody. He gave to people.
Yeah.
So I believe a lot. The last 10 days I've been doing 10 days of gospel teachings because I'm just learning. I'm only a year in, so I'm trying to learn about the gospel, right? So I was like, but everybody keeps saying gospel. So I'm like, what is the gospel? So I started doing a little research. I found 10 days of gospel teachings, like from, kind of in order.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been doing that on Facebook, 10 days of gospel teachings. And then today was day 10. The next 10 days, I'm going to do 10 days of Jesus versus religion. And I already got all 10 messages ready. And I know it's going to be tough because I have people that follow me from churches and stuff like that, but I'm not attacking no person.
It's just things to think about. God doesn't. God wants you to believe in him blindly. He wants your blind faith.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want you walking through this world blindly.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, not that I feel nothing. I don't feel nothing. I'm on a mission.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission. If it was up to me, this would be Big Yogi's Garage. We would be getting weed sponsorships. No, I'm not doing, because I was thinking that when Ohio became, I wanted to promote that kind of shit because that's the kind of person I was. And I'm on a mission that I'm sent to do, and I'm going to speak my truth. I already lost a lot of my friends when I started working out and fasting. A lot of them weren't into that stuff. That working out and fasting led me to finding Jesus Christ.
Oh, you were hallucinating.
No, I was actually,
you were
no, because
hungry.
I do intermittent fasting. So I just skip breakfast, but I have that time where I'm like declogging my body, and I started seeing God in the trees and the lights. And then I had one of those times where like that little bell that rang, something like that. I was telling my coworker about how these people talked my dad into giving him his cross. Because like they swindled him. They gave him a big old gold chain for his not real gold chain, and then the thing was fake. And I was telling my employee that. I was like, I didn't even believe in Jesus Christ. We got to the rental property to clean. I go to the cupboards I put a ladder. I go to the cupboards. Every cupboard is empty. I see a key all the way in the back. It's a BMW. This is the east side. I've never even seen a BMW. I mean, I'm just joking. I love the east side. That's my side. But anyways, there's a BMW key, and attached to it is a little round keychain with the cross. And it says something like, the wretched I am, like something like that. Is like a saying from the Bible. And I grabbed it, and I was like, it's still on my keychain. That was the moment where all of these things, like all of these, some guy at church gave me, some guy at the gym gave me a Bible. But that moment when I found that thing, because I just had talked about it on the way there, and I was like, whoa, that's when I was like, I need to start, because it was like at the rental property, that thing was just like perfect. I don't know. That reminded me. I don't know where I was taking that, but that was the moment where I was like, I need to search for more. So I'm going to do a little bit of teaching about Jesus versus religion, but not to attack religion at all. I'm just going to come up with some truth from the Bible. I'm not going to make none of it up. I'm going to look for it in the Bible. I already did it. I already looked for it in the Bible. I make sure that everything that I'm going to post is in this Bible right here. And it's all legit. And it's different things, like how religion and Jesus, when Jesus came, he didn't like certain things and certain things from the old people, like, not the old people, but the old laws.
Old Testament.
When Jesus came in, he changed a lot of that.
Yeah.
He was trying to fix people's hearts. Okay, so enough of me. Okay, so
yes, sir.
You don't go to church.
Nope.
But you have God in you.
Yes.
And then all these little signs is what keeps you going.
You know what?
It's not like you had this moment where, God came, like you've had all these little
It was
stuff,
like
but
little moments.
yeah.
It was,
but those are
it
beautiful.
was,
Those are perfect
it,
moments.
it was, blah, blah, blah. I'm having a stroke. It was the building of tiny pebbles, like on top of one another, that made this strong foundation. It was little bits and pieces of concrete that were just laid on top of one another and gave me a good foundation.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's strengthened. Yeah, I just got realized what you were saying. All those little pebbles gave you that strong. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, but another thing now that you follow Jesus Christ, you follow Jesus Christ. Do you carry his cross? Do you know what that means?
I do not know what that means.
Do we follow him? Do we have conversations about him? Like, you don't have to do that like all day, but
I tell my story.
But you tell your
I
story.
tell my story.
Okay, yeah, because that's another thing. Some people, they go to church, they say they follow Jesus Christ, but then you've never even known they just go and get the
I'm
message.
not going to tell you I have lived a godly life.
No, yeah, I know, and I haven't either.
And that is not a thing. I am constantly striving not to be godly, just to be better.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever be godly. But do I share my story? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
share my
sharing it
story
right now.
when anybody wants to talk about it. But I'm never gonna be one who's like, hey, you know what? Let me tell you about this.
Yeah.
Like, I have this story is told when people need to hear it
Yeah.
and when they ask about it.
Okay. But are you one of those guys that say, I don't talk about religion
No.
at all? Like, because that's what I feel like. I feel like when you don't talk about religion, when you don't talk about what, because like, or maybe this, like, I'm on this mission and then I see things different, or I don't know, because I feel like when it says carry his cross, I feel like it says now that you follow Jesus Christ, walk his cross, like
Carry the message
along, because our job is to try to grow the kingdom. But you just have to tell your story. It's not like you have to force feed that down someone's throat. But like, also when you have conversations with people, you're doing good, because as you're having the conversation with the person too, the way you are, the way you treat them, the way you ask them questions, the whole interaction, it shows you that you're interested in me. Like, a lot of people, I sit down with them and they never ask me one question through the whole podcast.
Well, what?
So that's godly. You are opening up, like, you're letting me see the Jesus in you, the person you are. So that's kind of like carrying his cross too. Mm-hmm. You're not evil. You're not over here. We're not over here talking bad about a bunch of.
There's some women who would disagree with you.
Yeah, of course. talk to some people in my life too.
Right.
There's people in all of our. Yeah. Of course, because to every single we're 1,000 different people to 1,000 different. A 1,000 different versions of people to 1,000 different people.
Right. And I will never ever say. Like I always tell people, I don't speak from a position of altitude, right? I'm not telling you this is how you live to be better, right? Because what I do is I speak from you from the mud, because I was in the mud. Mm. And sometimes I find myself back in the mud.
Yeah.
So it's not from a perspective of
like a high horse type deal.
Like, it is because I've done these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the ramifications, and I know like how they affect you negatively, because I've done some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not proud of them. I acknowledge the fact that they've been done.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge the fact that I have hurt people, and
Yeah.
I am sorry for the fact that I have hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to be better every
Yep,
day.
and that's what Jesus wants you to do. Because like we are not sinners. None of us are sinners, right? That's not exactly how it goes. We're not sinners. We were born with sin. The day that Eve let Adam eat, Eve ate the apple. She gave it to Adam, so sin went into them. We were gonna be perfect, but sin went into them. So when we were born with the curse of sin in us. It's not that you're sinning every day. No, you have to work on not sinning because it's naturally in our bodies. Like I mean, I guess we are sinners, but it's not like we're trying to sin on purpose. It's just like it's in us. We keep sinning but Paul said, like he Paul was like a murderer and Jesus came to him. So anybody can be saved because he was a murderer, you know what I'm saying? He murdered Christians and he came back, but he did like this thing where he said something like, if he's following Jesus Christ, and he did like a whole passage in the Bible, like, why do I keep sinning? Why is my flesh so bad? Why do I keep, because we keep these thoughts. These thoughts come in. We have to remember, if it's not a good thought, then it's a thought from the devil trying to destroy us. Let that thought go out. Anything to try to destroy the human, the family, the whole, the husband, the wife, the children, any kind of thought like that, because the devil wants to completely destroy families so we don't keep producing humans. So all those evil thoughts, those are thoughts from the devil. Now, if there's a thought that you see a homeless guy and it says, give him $1, that's a good thought. That's a thought from God. That's a nice little thought. Like, give this guy $1. Maybe he didn't even ask you, but you just get that. Let me give this guy $1. Boom, give him $1. That's a good thought. But if it says, man, forget this guy, I should just start videotaping him.
Right.
That's a thought from the devil. Don't do that. Just let that thought go, because those thoughts are not us. We are not the thoughts. Those thoughts are thoughts in the world or in the spirits and all this, and they come in, and we like, this guy, made us mad. I should smack him. No, don't smack him. Walk away. Jesus said, walk away. Jesus said, when someone smacks you on this cheek, turn the other cheek, let them smack you on this cheek. Come on. That's going to be the hardest thing to do. But he's trying to show you your heart. When he said, when someone makes you walk a mile carrying their stuff, tell them, let's go. I'll walk 2 miles. I'll carry your stuff 2 miles, because we're not supposed to hold the hate. The Bible says something like, if we hate one person, we hate all people.
Mm-hmm.
So hate is that's something that we have to repent, and we have to be like,
toxic.
It's hard. It's hard.
And it has health ramifications, right?
Because then it builds up.
Yeah,
You got this
like
built
that
up of
tension
this
and
hate.
that anger. It isn't just like, so when I was talking earlier about not really knowing how, like, what joy felt like,
Yeah.
right? I also don't really know what intense hatred feels like. Like, I don't hate people. I hate some of the things that they do.
Situations.
I hate situations. But I honestly believe there are only like maybe a handful of people in this world who conduct themselves with pure evil intention, right? I would say a lot of people do the best that they can with the tools that they have.
Yeah.
Nobody ever goes out unless you're really, really bad.
Yeah, unless you're like one of those murderer people.
Right. To just do bad. They think they're doing good. They think they're doing the best that they can. Sometimes it's not right, but that's what they think. So I'd like to think that there's a lot more goodness out in the world, which is really hard to say right now because, like, the things that we've been seeing,
I know,
which it's crazy. But we have to understand that these are tests. These are the tests that we have to stand up against. These are the things that we do that go that we're like, how important is this stuff to you? Like, how pulled and drawn are you to stand up for those things? Because this is the test. Like, are we going to be better?
Yeah. We got to. That's why I do this, because I figure, like, I see a lot of people, I used to interview a lot of rappers, right? So I see a lot of,
Christmas?
yeah, huh? No, like local, the the local rappers from Toledo and stuff. But I see them a lot. They promote a bunch of like, nonsense, man. And I'm like, I gotta start speaking up more. I gotta start teaching people more, or at least learning. I have to learn more so I can actually teach them. But I'm working on learning. It's
Right.
hard too.
Right. It's never gonna.
Like all that stuff I told you about the Bible, I can't tell you what scripture and what,
no.
like if it's in this or I don't know all that still.
No.
There's those little stories like when you're talking to like just like
And that's what it
spark up,
should be.
you
And
know?
that's how it should be. It should be things that when I was a freshman at Ohio State, we used to have this guy who used to preach, Brother Jim,
Mhm.
I think is what we called him. And he would preach the doom and gloom gospel,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But he had a command. He had a command on Bible verses. He could tell you like what scripture and verse was what where you could call women whores and that kind of thing.
Oh.
And like, a command of the Bible doesn't necessarily mean that you have command of Christianity
Mhm.
or that you're even a good Christian,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes command of the Bible can mean you're the worst person in the world.
Yeah, because it
But
says
you can have the ability to quote scriptures to kind of give you an excuse for why you act the way you do,
somewhere that I seen or read that the devil knows the Bible just as
as
good.
well as God,
Yeah.
right?
Because the devil was up there and he's the one that was trying to take the throne, and then he came down. He talked a bunch of angels to come to earth with him, and those are the ones that. So the earth is the devil's playground. The devil's runs the earth and all his angels, but then there's good angels too, and then we're caught in the middle. And we got to decide when that thought comes in: are we going to go with this guy or with that guy? And it could be something major, like harming somebody. Those are the worst sins. And then it could be like the little sin that really doesn't. It's just something that you just like. You know what? I don't really want to do that all the time.
I bought his last rap album, Little Sin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
5 tracks. I was not happy. I was like, is this a single? I'm sorry. Most of you guys don't know what a single is. I apologize.
Cassette single. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's why I'm doing all this. Just trying to guide people the
Dude, it's
best way
cool.
possible.
It's cool.
Yeah, and okay, so tell me about what your plans are for your show,
Okay,
and then we'll finish that. I asked one last question.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question is always I want to give the viewers hope through your story. Like, so think about it. I want you to tell me about your show.
Okay.
But then after that, I want to ask you a question about. Usually, I ask like the whole life story, but some people just have like their life story is so short. You know what I'm saying? Your life story might be like a freaking 4-hour
I don't know if we
podcast.
have time.
We have to be here all night. I'll be like,
Right.
phone. I'll be like, my phone's out of storage. We're gonna do a part
We
2.
got 2 more phones coming in.
That's funny. All right, man. All right, tell me about the show. This idea you got for this new show.
So the idea for this show, which I am, affectionately calling, We All Eat, is the idea is there's going to be like 4 or 5 people part of this show. It's gonna have like a late night kind of talk show feel to it. Without like the desk and the guests and things like that, just a panel of people. We're going to go through internet videos. We're going to pull things from headlines from the internet, the news, nothing real serious, but I am going to have, there is going to be a pediatric doctor who's going to be part of the show. Some other professionals. So it's just not opinions. But there's going to be fact-based opinions, right? It's going to be lighthearted. We're going to do some stand-up comedy spots. We're going to have local musicians featured, and it's going to run about 2 hours, and it's going to be taped in front of an audience.
That's the thing that I was like, wow, that's awesome.
It is,
so it's going to be a storefront, and then people are gonna be able to stand outside, or people are gonna be
No,
inside.
people are gonna be inside.
Oh,
Be
I thought it was
inside.
like one of those.
No, no, no,
Like
no.
MTV back in the
No,
day.
yeah, like right.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah, no,
that.
no, no. They are actually gonna be in the studio.
But limited amount, right?
And no, probably about as many people as we can fit in.
Yeah, but what if you guys get big and then like you guys
Then you know what? Then we get bigger.
Okay.
Then that's what it is. But
Okay.
it's gonna be free. Nobody's gonna have to pay anything
No
to
one has
get
to
in.
pay to get in.
You could just come in, sit, listen to some good conversation, even participate. We're gonna have some points in the show where audience members can ask questions and say things, and we're gonna focus on some good musicians and some good stand-ups. And it's just going to be a good time
That sounds so awesome.
from
man. We
7 to
need
9.
that.
That's right.
And this is
Then-
gonna be live?
Yep.
Live.
It's going to be live, and then we're going to cut it and edit it and post it on Friday.
Okay.
So
or you record live.
we're going to record live on
but it's
Wednesdays.
not gonna be live, air live.
No.
So you record and then
No.
you're gonna cut.
Because that's going to be the part that belongs to the audience,
Okay.
right? That part of the show
Mhm.
is going to be their part. That's theirs and theirs alone.
Mhm.
And then when we cut it up and edit it and put it on Friday, then everybody else can get it. But if you want that live experience,
Yeah.
like it's not fair to me to the audience for me to give you that the same day.
Yeah. And it's a good idea because when you go live, that's cool too. I like it, but when you go live, people have to be there live to watch it.
Right.
Then they can watch it because it'll still stay there. But if you say, you record it live and then you drive people Friday is gonna go there, people will subscribe and people will be like,
Yeah.
and then people that are there live will be like, I want to listen to myself, or
Yeah,
I want to
or
see
I wanna
myself
see-
in the audience.
And the thing about it is you're not going to get that whole 2-hour show experience on the podcast.
yeah,
You're
it'll get cut down.
you're going to get probably like an hour
Mhm.
of it, and that's going to be broken down into segments.
Damn.
And so for the audience experience, you're going to get that whole 2-hour uncut raw show.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And then like 100%, the audience is involved.
Right.
All the people.
Yeah.
So everyone.
This is
everyone
like I
eats,
said,
like,
everyone eats. Right? It doesn't cost you anything. And a big shout out to the Switchboard and Culture Clash Records, who have like provided the space that we can do this in.
Mhm.
And it's going to be like, I hope people enjoy it as much as I hope people are going to enjoy it.
I think it's something that we need, man, because everybody does a morning show. Everybody, like, because even this show, like right now, we're recording at night, but this comes out Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
I thought like for adults, you remember how when we were kids, we watched Saturday morning cartoons. So
Don't get me started. I still have my original tidy whities and my little t-shirt.
So I figured like us adults, we're probably bored on Saturday mornings. We could just watch the podcast. That's why I did it Saturday morning. And it used to be Monday morning, but I couldn't really do it Monday because I promote it the day it comes out. And I'm at work all day Monday. Saturday is a good day where I can promote and I'm not stressed out.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. I think it's a good idea because I watch Shannon Sharp and all these guys. They have like they have regular shows, but they have these night shows.
Yeah.
They have these nightcaps, and it's so awesome.
And it's going to be, I feel like it's in that sweet spot. It's at from 7 to 9, right? So you're not out real late.
Mhm.
And if you want to come out, you can come out, have a couple of cocktails, watch the show, and you'll be home by 9:30.
Yeah, because we have that Dora, so
Right.
people could just have
Right?
a cup. And
So it's just going to be a good, fun experience.
And are you guys gonna be looking for sponsors and all that stuff?
Yes, we are. Well, we are. We will be-
Advertisers?
Yeah, we will be looking for sponsors and advertisers. Once again, how the audience is going to work is you will have exposure to the in studio audience and the people who watch the show on the podcast. I will say, since really looking into the numbers, I have probably had like. I looked at it just yesterday, and I'm at like probably 500,000 interactions on.
Wow.
So like those are the things that like you have to understand.
Is that
like,
on Facebook?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that like in the past, like I can put you in front of like just me alone, 500,000 people.
Wow.
just on the internet, right? But it's not about that. It's
Mhm.
really about the people who are going to be on the show.
Yeah. And
And
then for everyone to eat, you need advertisers, you need
yeah,
supporters
yeah,
to help you just to cost
yeah,
expenses
right,
until eventually you make profit.
right. And I will tell you this: I will be the last person to take anything from the show.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna do it like with legal stuff? Like are you gonna sit down with these people and say, hey, let's do a contract, or are you gonna just say, hey, we all eat and that's it? Because like, at the end of the
You
day,
know what I
it's
found?
complicated,
Yeah, I found that at the end of the day, um, people can look you in the eye and tell you a lot of things,
Mhm.
right? But I will say this: everybody who will be part of this show will have some kind of vested interest in it, and that will be documented.
Okay, yeah.
So
That's
it's not just going to be, hey, trust me.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody eats.
It's a very smart move. Even if there's 5 people, you can say, "Hey, we're splitting it 5 ways."
Right.
You get this. Say there's 4. You say 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Everyone eats, and then out of the expenses, you take
Yep.
5% from this guy, 5% from
Yep.
this guy,
And that's how
and
that
you guys
works.
all end
Yep.
up with 20%.
Because that's how it is. If we're all going to do this, everybody needs to see the benefit and everybody needs to see the cost.
Yeah,
It can't just be, well, I'm doing this, and it has to be transparent, right? You have to show, hey, this is where this is going, this is where this is going, this is where this is going, and this is what we have left.
hmm
What do you want to do with this? Should we put it back in the show?
yeah.
Should we put some of it away for when we want to go and say take the show on vacation?
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Right?
yeah, yeah,
Right. It would be
Yeah,
dope
yeah.
as shit.
yeah.
If you could sit there and go, you know what, my show took me on vacation.
Yep. Because you guys could easily do that.
Right.
If you have a nice little purse, you can say, you know what, let's
Right.
go to Miami
Right.
and do like a weekend
You know
there,
what?
do a show there.
I bought some tickets on Allegiant for $44. Everybody's we're
Yeah.
all going to St. Pete.
Yeah, that would be cool, man.
But that's the thing. And I want to make it so that everybody enjoys it. And it shouldn't be something that you feel like you're pouring yourself into and not getting anything else back.
Yeah, because it's hard when you're giving yourself, like giving all your time and effort, and then
Uh,
you don't get nothing in
right.
return, and then you don't even see nothing in the horizon in
Right.
return.
And the thing about it is that nobody's telling you good job. Hey, I appreciate the sacrifices that you made.
Mhm.
And I just want to do something fun. I want to do something that benefits everybody, and I don't want my name on it.
Mhm. So that's beautiful, man. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna go down there. Is there
Dude, I
any
would
time-
like you to be a guest.
Yeah, are you
Well,
gonna have
yeah.
content creators and
Yeah.
podcasters and stuff?
Yeah, it's gonna, dude. This is going to be like a regular show.
Yeah.
and
It's
you
gonna be
can-
once a week.
once a week,
Okay,
every
cool.
Wednesday,
Uh,
and we're gonna start August 6th.
record once a week, and then it's gonna come out once a week.
Yep,
on that Friday.
It'll come out on Friday.
Okay. Are you gonna do like a bunch of recordings before the first one comes out, or are you gonna just
Oh yeah,
record and
no,
come
no,
out?
no. We're gonna do some because I've had a lot of interest for people who want to be part of the panel
Mm,
and be part of the show. I need to see how people work
yeah.
together. I need to see the chemistry. I I I I, I don't feel comfortable, handpicking people and going, this is where I feel my crew is.
Mm,
I need to let the crew find itself, and hopefully I'm in it.
mm.
Right.
Well, what the heck? You're the one that's good.
Like, how shitty would that be?
Yeah,
if
yeah.
like you put all these people together and you're like, wow, you guys are great without me.
No, like the thing is, you don't try to take over the show,
No.
so you can just like blend in when you need to, and blend, and then step back because you already do that. Like, I listen, bro. You're not the one. Sometimes if it's like something where you need
If
to
I'm
like,
passionate, and
yeah,
I'm
because
mad,
I've heard you cut off.
I
people.
won't let people talk. I
Yeah.
won't. I feel like you got to stomp ignorance out as soon as you see.
and I've listened to a lot of that stuff,
Mm.
and I'm like, yeah, but there's certain times when you have to like
Yeah.
settle the
Yeah.
score or whatever. But some also they don't understand. Sometimes they don't understand, and you got to agree to disagree with people.
Right. And I don't think there's anything better in the world than watching great conversation happen.
Yeah.
Like even as an audience member, if you can watch great conversation
Mm.
and it's funny, it's compelling, it's intelligent,
This
there's
can't beat
like
it.
you can't beat that. You can't.
Yeah. Yeah, man. If you ever like,
Oh, I would love it,
I'm more
bro.
than willing to get on there. And
As the kids say less, fam.
yeah. Say less because for sure. Because
Yeah.
look what I'm doing. I'm trying to do it all by myself. I do this on my phone, and I've been doing this. I'm on your episode 166. I've had 166 weeks.
Man,
I got
if I would have been 3 more episodes later.
169. I reached out as soon as I seen you do that live. I reached out to you. I said, "Man, let me talk to this guy because I can see, But I also, what you said earlier, you don't hold no hate, and I noticed that. And that you said I tried to make this video 4 times, and that means that you were thinking about what you were saying. And at a lot of times, you would stop and you would like fix what you're saying,
Yeah.
and you didn't rush into the message. You said what you said. You made it clear, but I seen the goodness in your message, bro. I got on there. I was like, he's probably not even gonna say yes, but let me see if he would like to sit down with me today.
Yeah.
And I even said, like, we don't have to talk about that,
Bro, you know what I remember? Like I remember when you first came into the studio, and like I've always been, especially when that that iteration of that show was on. Like I'm the executioner of guests.
Mhm.
Like if you ain't got good shit to say, you ain't saying it on my show. Like I'm not here to listen to you talk about like how many times you can blow in a kazoo.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I want to
Yes.
hear something that's good and compelling. And you were great and you were compelling. and I will say this, knowing you, and I think a lot of people need to hear this at times, because some people, you guys may not realize it, but there's somebody who is better off knowing you.
Thank you.
There is somebody, I'm better off knowing you.
I'm better off knowing you too.
You have enriched my life, right? You have given me great conversation. You have provided me with a good person to have that conversation with. So I am better off knowing you.
Wow.
And
Thank you.
and for anybody else who may be wondering, is anybody better off knowing me? I've had those conversations in my head. Somebody is better off knowing you. Go to sleep at night knowing that. Wake up in the morning knowing that. You may not know who they are. You may not know them by name, but there is somebody who wakes up and they think if you can do it, they can do it.
That's absolutely right. 100%. Because like even just like I met you that day, but just sitting here and just having this conversation, you open up, you're telling me all this stuff, and it's like it's showing me who you really are. It's like, damn. So I feel the same way about you because, like, for real, like I looked up to you because you were on the radio. And this is something I'm trying to do some radio shows. So I really look up to you, and I like your perspective on life, even a lot of the stuff that you talk about. So to me, it's like, man, just you saying yes, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Because like yesterday, you said we had to reschedule, but I was like, thank you. And I was like, thank you for what? But I was like, thank you because you haven't left me in the dust.
I would never do that.
I know, but I said it because
Yeah.
when I said thank you, I said, but he wants to schedule it for tomorrow. I was like, but thank you, because people will cancel on me forever and never talk to me.
No.
So I was like, damn, this is gonna be awesome. And I know that you have a lot of followers, a lot of subscribers, a lot of, so I appreciate you sitting down with me. I appreciate every single nice thing
Bro,
you can't even believe it, because I can't even believe it because when you're on this road, a lot of people leave your side, So
yeah.
it feels good when, my wife tells me all the time, like, I'm glad that you're in our life, but like, not too, a lot of times I sit down in this podcast with people and it's just like I let them just talk about them. They don't ever say anything about me. They don't ever ask me any questions. I'm just trying to come up with the next question and it's all about them. And that's what I want to do because that's my show. But also I feel like sometimes
It's
like
nice to be recognized.
I want or I want
Yeah.
to put in a little. Sometimes I cut them off and I have to put in.
You're pretty. It's okay. you're very pretty, and,
No.
and sometimes it's okay to want somebody to go, "Hey, bitch, I'm pretty too," right?
Yeah, my wife tells me too. Like sometimes, like in the beginning, though, I would just talk
Yeah.
too much. My wife was like, "Calm down, stop talking so much. Let the guests." So I've learned a lot about all this.
This
stuff.
is a process.
Yeah.
I mean, and like at 166 episodes in, right? You are killing it,
Thank you.
and to watch you grow and to watch what this has become is impressive.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. So since the podcast, have faith, show love, give hope, right?
Mhm.
I know you just said a powerful little message right there. That was a hopeful message right there. But I want you to, from your perspective of life and all the things that you've been through, all the struggles, all the down times, all those times, I want you to look at the camera and give the viewers a little bit of hope through your perspective of life.
All right. It's funny. He asked me to think about this while he was asking me about this new show. So I will say this, and maybe this resonates with somebody. I'm flawed and I am broken. I have hurt people in my life unintentionally and sometimes intentionally. That is not the sum of who I am today. And it is because of friendship, fellowship, and faith that I can look past all the imperfections and see some of the perfections, right? That's who we all are. We are part imperfect and part perfect. We have done things that have made us seem less than. Those do not have to be who you are. You don't have to be what other people think you are. My mom used to tell me this all the time. What people say don't make you shit. You can choose every day to be better. Other people's opinions of you will weigh on you, and they've weighed on me to the point where I've tried to take my life twice, right? You don't have to let those things happen to you. There's something inherently great about you. That is all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to sit down with
No
you.
problem, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Where can everybody follow you for all the news on your show and stuff
Oh,
like that?
bro. Okay. So my Facebook page, which is Demetrius Nicodemus, my Instagram, which is Demetrius Nicodemus. I don't really know how to tickety talk.
Mhm.
Like that's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that seems like for the kids. But I do have TikTok. But those will be all the ways that you can find me. If not, you can, send up smoke signal. I speak fluent smoke signal.
He'll knock on the door. So yeah,
But
so
that's it. Yeah.
And then following you, they'll see like where the show is going to
where the show is, and
channel.
where the channel is going to be, and where everything is going to originate. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you,
Bro,
guys.
can I just real quick, if you guys aren't showing this cat a ton of love for the things that he is doing right now, I beg you to. If you haven't shared like his podcast with a couple of friends, I beg you to. There needs to be more of this on the internet than the other shit. More of this than this. This than this.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, my brother.
Oh, thank
I
you,
appreciate
Bubba.
you so much, man.
love
You
it.
guys make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you comment, share, write something. Make sure you go on his channel. Make sure you, get on his channel, write him something. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have faith, show love, give hope, let go, and let God.